Hello everyone, and welcome back to the 45th Annual SNF International Fly-In and Expo here at the beautiful Lakeland Linder Regional Airport. I'm Ben Coleman, one of your hosts here at the Florida Aviation Network. This is a network of volunteers, but we have a lot of spirit, and we are the official television network for Sun and Fun. And if you're listening to this, you're probably seeing this streaming live, which it is going over live. However, you need to be here. Because if you were here, you could see some of the beautiful vendors, some of the spectacular supplies. And there's just food, there's airplanes of all different color, shape, size. But one airplane in particular that you really need to get your fists around, and that's called the Bristell. And we happen to have a gentleman here that knows a little bit about the Bristell. John Rathmell.
Thank you, sir.
John Rathmell with Bristell Aircraft.
That's right.
And John, challenge.
I got coined.
You just got coined.
I got coined. Well, as you know, this coin is given to people who qualified in the airplane. It's like a military rite of passage to get the coin. And you got me, Ben, because I don't have my coin today.
Okay.
I gave my coin to someone else today.
You buy.
I'm buying.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You buy. It's on you.
Thank you.
On you.
There's another coin out in the audience. Thank you.
Well, John, Bristell, very few people know about all these little light sport aircraft because there's a bunch on the market.
Right.
Some sell better than others.
Yes, sir.
How does the Bristell sell?
This year we did pretty well. We topped out. We became the #1 import for the light sport group. So we're really proud that the airplane's doing so well.
So if it's #1 import into the U.S., where does it export from?
It exports from the Czech Republic.
Okay.
They've got a very modern factory down in a place called Kunovice, and in the Czech Republic, sort of near Vienna, down that end of the Czech Republic. But it's a beautiful big plant on a nice little airfield, and we've just been having a great support from our factory this year.
Well, and I would love to play dumb, but I can't, because last time we were together, it was in Sebring at the Sport Aviation Expo, and I had the pleasure of actually sitting in one of your aircraft.
Yeah.
And what a nice little machine.
Yeah.
There's attention to detail. There's a lot of thought that went into that interior.
Yeah.
And it's roomy. I mean, we were two big guys.
Yeah.
And we were roomy.
Yeah. I love the way all the cockpit controls fall to hand. It's a natural, ergonomically laid out cockpit as you learn. I mean, you can sit in that airplane for a good 6.5 hour range and feel very comfortable. Really nice plane.
I'd need a relief tube if I was in the airplane for about 6 hours, but I'm sure we could work that out. That's all part of your options, I'm sure.
Yeah, we just fly for 3 hours and stop in somewhere and relief tube and head on.
John, normally these light sport aircraft are, you don't want to fly them in bad weather. You fly them with VFR.
Right.
Anything different about the Bristell?
Well, yeah, we're able to now offer an IFR platform, and especially where somebody wants to maybe fly through a marine layer, a light IFR situation, some low clouds, just to get in and out of a place, leave the beach house and head on back home. There's a capacity for us to classify the airplane, although it's SLSA, and there'll be some questions out there, of course. Well, if it's light sport, how can it be IFR? Well, if you're flying with your light sport license, you wouldn't fly at IFR. If you had basic med and probably flying under your private ticket or your commercial ticket, your instrument ticket, then of course you could exercise your IFR privileges. And in that case, we'd bring the airplane from SLSA to ELSA, and under ELSA rules, you could pretty easily fly at IFR then. You can equip it either way, even if you're S, and you just want to practice approaches, you could do it that way too.
Well, that's something a lot of people don't realize is you can, flying to IMC is one thing.
That's
but
right.
Flying to IMC standards should be something we should all strive for.
Really care to be that good. You should care to be that good, yes.
Yeah, and it's just another layer of safety.
Right.
And Speaking of safety, what is the safety record for the Bristell?
Well, so far, the United States has had a pretty good safety record. We did have a fatal crash last year. And
As a matter of fact, it was here at Lakeland.
It was here at Lakeland, yes, sir. And I don't know all the details, so I'm not really in a good position to talk about the latest reports. But we'll have more on that as it comes out.
Well, and again, rumor mill, we won't speculate. We'll just wait and let the report come out and tell us what it was. But I don't believe that it was a result of the structure of the aircraft.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. As far as we know, the airplane was in proper running shape all the way through.
Okay. And because that's usually folks that pay attention to the safety characteristics of an aircraft. They look at, well, how many have come apart in flight? Just what's the general reputation, time standards, what has to be replaced in 5,000 hours or 10,000 hours. How do we shape up on that?
Well, this airplane, it's got a very interesting program that we're going to be coming out with this year. We'll do a staged annual. So as you know, the airplane actually has a condition report. It happens annually, but it's called a condition report. And we have in our maintenance schedule capacity to do that over time. So if the airplane ended up in a flight school, you could do segments of that inspection over a period of time, rather than having to put the airplane down for the count, take it offline for a day, bring it back up again for another inspection. You can just do that in staged, just like you would in the military, or you might see in an airline.
Phase inspection.
Phase inspection, yep.
John, are there any flying clubs that employ special or light sport aircraft that are around?
Well, we don't have any clubs per se, but we have some share programs. So there's a share program out on Long Island. There's a couple airplanes here now. We have the Sebring Flight Academy is an all Bristell operation down here in Sebring. So we're looking to try to offer some low-cost flight instruction. We use some of the founder, Lou Mancuso here in the United States, has the landingdoctor.com, and if you have a moment, go visit that website and have a look at some of our training program that we're looking to expand. That it happens for all owners anyway, but if you want to learn that, you can come to Florida and learn with the landing doctor protocols.
Now, this in Sebring, this is a flight school with a fleet of Bristells?
Yeah, well, until recently we had started out the school with 2, and I sold one, so we'll be putting another one back down there in another 2 weeks or so. But it's a starting flight school down there at the moment. Okay. Sure.
And to
IFR.
Really?
Yeah, it's a technologically advanced aircraft, of course. So you can take that airplane all the way from light sport license all the way up to ATP. And
this, you're going to have 2 down there. What's your, I don't want to say limit. The sky is the limit, but what are you shooting for with the school aspect? Because that makes a lot of sense to me.
Sure. Well, when you think about an airplane that can do 4.5 gallons of car gas in the pattern, it can be car gas or 100 load lead, and you can blend them. The engine doesn't mind. So you can get some very low cost usage rates out of that airplane, under $50 an hour usage rate. So it's an economical airplane to put in the school, but the idea really is to try to bring forward the legacy training products that Lou is trying to roll out. His dad had been a trainer for the U.S. military back in 1944, 1943, prior to World War II, or during World War II. And so they've been in business for a long time, and they're bringing a lot of that old hat, gray beard knowledge back into the flying system.
And I associate with that. I identify with that. John, where is the headquarters? Where's the base for the U.S. operation for
in Lancaster, Pennsylvania? We have that's our import location. We bring all the aircraft in there from overseas, and we put them all together there. We assemble them and certify them right in Lancaster.
Boy, I tell you, if we had some B-roll, and maybe in post-production, they can throw some B-roll up there for you. But it's a very sleek design.
Yeah.
2 placed side by side.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of composite is used in the aircraft.
Well, it's in the forward section around the cowling mostly, and in the rudder. But other than that, it's aluminum, and it's a very robust design with a military wing. So it's a very robust aircraft across the board.
How about what type of avionics packages do you guys offer?
G3, we use the G3X and a Garmin suite, particularly focused on the autopilot. It's got a fully functioning autopilot with autopilot head controller, separate head controller, and then any of the new Garmin suite you want to put in there. I think we're going to start looking at this GPS 175 from Garmin. It's a new LPV capability. WASP GPS is pretty inexpensive, and we'll see
LPV for our viewers. LPV.
Localizer, precision, VNAV approach. So that way you can operate as if it was ILS on a GPS approach. So you get vertical guidance with localizer
X,
precision,
Y,
even though
and
it's GPS.
X, Y, and Z. I like that. I tell you, the days of having a ground-based transmission tower or stations,
Yeah.
they're going to be limited.
That's right.
They're numbered.
That's
Their
right.
days are numbered.
So if anybody's out there kind of familiar, if you had a normal ILS, you'd have some equipment on the ground that would give you an XY axis, and you'd be able to center up the gauges to fly that precision approach. Well, with this, you can kind of do it with GPS. GPS is going to put you in a place in space and tell you what your vertical nav should be while keeping you on the center line. So we'll be looking at that and seeing about maybe adding that to our package as well. But for folks who are coming down from the Cirrus and they're thinking, I only need 2 seats and I want to do it efficiently, I'm going to go pancake breakfast and hamburgers, but occasionally I want to fly IFR, it might be a really good package for them.
How about, John, if I just wanted, and all this newfangled, technology stuff,
Yeah.
I want to just fly. I want to be able to look out.
Turn everything off.
Or can you get the aircraft without that?
You can, sure, yeah.
Bare bones, steam gauge,
Sure.
bare knuckle,
Oh yeah. If you want to do something like that, I mean, the airplane is gonna. Maybe I think you're digging around at what cost might be. That plane's probably gonna come in at around $165,000 if you've got a bare bones airplane at minimum. But we still recommend putting in the tapes. And I showed you last time we were in the airplane. But if you're not that accustomed to all the new tapes and how it all works, you might just tap the screen, bring up a 6-pack, and then you can have a 6-pack projected up against synthetic vision, which is pretty cool.
Well, see, John, cost is really no option for me. It's really not a problem because I've got more money than John Rathmell, really. You salesman, I tell you, you're cracking me up. The airplane is nice, and I got to admit that. And Earl Boyder says hello, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
give him my very best.
You and Earl go back a ways.
That's right. Yeah, we work together
when
for a
I
while.
tell him, I was talking to John. He said, "John, that old scoundrel, telling me he owes me money." But he will be proud to know that I challenged you, and you lost the challenge.
I lost a challenge for the first time in a long time. That's
All right, I'll come clean. Oh, well, I've hidden it. I got it over here. John gave me his coin this morning. I ran him down because I knew he was going to do that to me. So, and mine's back at home.
Well, since you lost your coin, maybe I'll just reach in here and see if I can. Look at that. There's a. I did have one.
Okay.
Since
all
you
right.
lost your coin, I'll coin you. How about that?
All right, I got it back. Okay, witness. I've just got coined again. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Even on the day, man.
And I tell you what, we someday. How's the light short field performance of the airplane?
Well, the airplane comfortably is taking off and landing in 500 and 700 feet regularly. So it's really built to very rough standards out in Czech Republic and Eastern Europe. They've got a lot of grass strips that are pretty bumpy, pretty much worse than a cow pasture. So the airplane's built to some rough standards. We even have on our tail dragger capacity to go with a Tundra, Alaska Tundra package. We've got a neat large tire program for our tail dragger. There's some additional new stuff coming out, but the airplane's built in a very robust way. But this year you can start, I'll give you a little teaser, you can expect some electric news from us, some pretty high-charged information coming from us down the road.
I can't see if I was to read between the lines. High charge, electrical news.
Yeah. We'll talk more about that. There's another show that's going to follow this one up over in Friedrichshafen. I think you'll see some more on that very soon.
Ooh, Friedrichshafen. Obi, we may have to do a fan show from Germany. Obi said, show me the money, just like Jerry Maguire, show me the money. He said, we'll be in Germany. But that would be so, and you know it's there, it's going to be there. We've got unmanned aircraft.
Yeah.
And the day of hopping in your airplane and hitting a start button
Right.
Is not too far away.
Right. I look forward to spending some time doing some test flying in that regime here very soon. And I think it's going to be very interesting, the mechanism for bringing electric to training planes and that kind of stuff. I think it's going to be fun.
With the aspect ratio of that wing, it's a beautiful wing on the airplane. I could see if there was an engine that could be easily taken offline and online, and a propeller that maybe would rather go from this to this. I imagine the drag or the glide ratio would be respectable.
It's respectable, but it's nothing like some of the real motor gliders per se. In our model, if one were to project out what would be a good plan, it'd be kind of neat to be able to take an electric aircraft, and the simplicity of the engine would be a lot less work for kind of a school or training environment. So we're looking at how valuable that would be, and we'd also look at how we could maybe swap batteries in and out of a plane easily, so you could just take an airplane, swap out, put new fuel in, and off it goes. So there's that. I think we're thinking about that angle down the road.
Now that's an interesting concept. I never really thought about that. Rather than just having a radius to get back to home base,
Right.
you got a charge to take you to leg A,
Maybe
and a battery to get you back.
a battery pack
Back
on
to
the
home.
other end, that could work. Sure.
Wow, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
It really is, with imagination.
We've got a lot of advanced stuff coming out as time goes on. We're looking into the Part 23 aircraft world, so I think we'll probably see something like that too.
Interesting.
Our factory's on the move with a whole lot of new stuff.
And again, this is in Czechoslovakia,
Czech Republic, right?
the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And any thoughts of bringing the manufacturing
Yes.
over here?
Yeah.
Oh, here.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I say great. It's great for us, but
Sure.
what do the Czechs think about that?
They're
Are they
thrilled.
losing?
No.
They don't look at it as a loss.
No. They're thrilled with the idea of bringing manufacturing operation to our location, where we can then do 51% EAB aircraft builds. So when the guys who were very interested in being an owner builder on their own airplane, we'd like them to come and finish out an aircraft with us. So when the factory needs any flexibility, then we could work a little bit with that. Getting some B-roll now.
John, what are we looking at there?
That's a retractable gear airplane.
Okay.
So if somebody said, I'd really like to have a retractable gear aircraft, it'd be really cool if they could build it here in the States, because retractable, of course, doesn't fall in LSA.
No.
So now as a factory LSA, we can't make that. But what if they could do 51% of it? And they really can't do that over in Czech Republic, so we'd like to do that here in the United States. So by throwing up that aircraft, I think that would be something to be really fun. And then we can start to signal that the 915, when it's ready, could be put in there too. That's a Rotax 915 with that 130 horse injected engine.
And you don't even need a turbocharger. You got plenty of power. I mean, even
Well,
at
it is
altitude.
turbo.
It is turbo.
Oh, yeah,
That's right. The
915
915
is
is
turbo.
turbo.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah, the
You fly
912 IS that's injected, then there's 914, that's turbo, but carbureted, and now the 915
Would be
injected
turbocharged.
and turbo. And I think, everyone's always clamoring for more horsepower. But we're looking forward to seeing how we could bring that to the U.S. market. But over time, the rules have to be massaged a little bit at the moment, and that's working with our brothers at the FAA and see if we can work that through.
Well, ironically, the FAA is seeming more and more accommodating,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's the old timers kind of migrating out of Washington and got some fresh ideas.
Let's
fresh
talk
people
about
coming in.
the Dynon Skyview system. They've been accepted now as in certified aircraft.
Yeah.
That changes the world for old Cessnas, old Pipers, old Stinsons, Moonies. It changes the world. And now the Garmin package has also been allowed for over 500 aircraft
Yeah.
in the certified world. I mean, We
Things
sat
change.
behind that and said, man, we're not going back to 1960 ever again.
Yeah.
Now they can really do it. And so that I get big props to the FAA for doing that. I mean, we're way out ahead of general aviation from between 1965 and 1985. We're way out ahead of them here in the light sport world, especially in Bristell land.
Well, it is refreshing, and the FAA, I think they understand their rule is safety.
Yeah.
And if you can do something without a compromise to safety,
Yeah.
then let them go forth and prosper.
Yeah.
Rather than just be you can't do that. I got spring loaded to the no position, but
Right.
But let's get them spring loaded to the let's think about it and let's try it
Sure.
position.
Sure.
John, it's always been a pleasure talking with
too.
you, and we'll see you again. And I'll bring my coin, and I'll see you at the bar sometime. And,
Very good.
If we ever caught up on how many beers we owe each other, it's going to be a long night. You know that, don't you?
Coca-Cola's, beers, whatever you like.
Okay. Oh, thank you, John.
Thank you, man. Take care.
We do appreciate that.
Thank you.
And we're going to close up another session here at the Florida Aviation Network. I'm Ben Coleman, one of your hosts, and we will see you later.